The stars were quiet, and the great warship Varnak floated through deep space like a dark shadow. It was one of the largest ships in the Galactic Empire. With hundreds of weapons and powerful engines, it was a symbol of control and fear. No enemy had ever escaped it. Inside, everything was calm. The crew moved from one station to another. Screens showed empty space. There was nothing to worry about. At least, that's what they thought. Admiral Krell stood on the command bridge, looking at the stars. He had led many battles. He had crushed rebellions and destroyed ships bigger than cities. But today, he felt strange. There was something in the air, something he could not explain. Then a small light appeared on the radar. A ship. A small one. Very small. Too small to be a threat. Krell looked at the screen with no emotion. The ship was human. Just one small ship. It was moving slowly. Nothing special. "Let it pass," Krell said. "It's probably just a scout. They are always watching." The crew didn't even lock weapons. There was no need. Humans were weak. Their ships were slow and easy to destroy. The Empire had defeated them many times before. No one cared about one little ship. But then something happened. The small ship moved. Not forward, not backward. It moved sideways. Fast. So fast that the radar lost it for a second. Then it appeared again, on the other side of Varnak. Krell stepped forward. "Where did it go?" he asked. The crew stared at their screens, confused. "Sir, it was in front of us. Now, it's behind us." Krell narrowed his eyes. "How fast did it move?" The technician answered, "Faster than light, sir, much faster." Krell didn't speak for a moment. That was not possible. No ship could move faster than light, not even the Empire's most advanced fighters. But the small human ship had done it, and it had done it with no warning. "Lock weapons," Krell ordered. "Track that ship." They tried. But the ship disappeared again. One moment it was behind them, then it was above them, then gone. It was like watching a ghost dance in space. The sensors could not follow it. Cameras saw only flashes of light. "This must be a trick," one officer said. "No," Krell replied. "This is real." He leaned forward, watching carefully. The ship came back, just for a second. It hovered close to the Varnak, almost as if it was looking at them. Then it flew around the warship 3 times in less than a second. Lights flickered. Systems went offline. Then, once again, it was gone. The crew panicked. Alarms rang. The engine room reported strange power drops. The weapons systems froze. Everything was falling apart. Krell clenched his fists. "It's not attacking," he said quietly. "It's showing us something." He was right. The ship didn't fire a single weapon. It didn't even cause damage. But it showed them that it could, anytime it wanted. It moved like no ship in the galaxy. It broke all the rules of speed, of physics, of space. The Empire was proud of its control, its science, its power. But this human ship, it was something else. It made the Empire look slow, weak, old. Krell turned to his officers. "What kind of ship is that?" he asked. No one had an answer. One young officer said, "Sir, if humans can build ships like this, they may be more dangerous than we thought." Krell nodded slowly. He had fought many enemies, but none had made him feel fear. Until now. The ship appeared once more, just a flash of silver light. It flew straight toward Varnak's bridge. The crew ducked, thinking it would crash. But it didn't. It passed through them. Not around. Not over. Through. Like light through glass. Every system shut down for 2 seconds. Then everything came back. The ship was gone. Krell stood in silence. His heart was beating fast. He had never seen anything like this before. The great Varnak, the pride of the Empire, had been played with like a toy. He looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, that ship was watching them, waiting. "Send a message to command," Krell said. "Tell them, "We have a problem." The Empire wasted no time. As soon as Admiral Krell reported the strange ship, the command center of the Galactic Empire went into full alert. The Empire's leaders had always believed that humans were simple, easy to defeat. But what Krell had witnessed wasn't simple. It was a warning. The small human ship had shown them that speed and power could be more than just weapons. They could be a force of nature itself. Within hours, a fleet of Empire ships was sent to hunt down the human vessel. Among them was the Tarkin, a destroyer that was known for its speed and firepower. The Tarkin had been one of the fastest ships in the Empire, built to chase down any enemy, no matter how far they ran. It had never failed to catch its prey. The officers on board were confident. They believed that if anyone could catch the human ship, it would be them. Admiral Krell sat at his command center, his eyes scanning the galaxy's stars. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Something about that ship, that strange speed, was bothering him. His hands gripped the edge of the table as he listened to the reports coming in from the fleet. They had found nothing. The ship had vanished again. "Keep looking," Krell ordered, his voice steady but tense. "Don't stop until you find it." The fleet spread out across the nearby systems. They searched every planet, every moon, every empty space in between. But the human ship was always one step ahead. Each time the fleet thought it had cornered it, the ship disappeared. It wasn't like anything they had ever seen. No ship moved like this. It was as if the human vessel knew their every move before they made it. Each time it appeared, it moved faster. It was almost as if it was playing with them. Then, one day, they found something. It wasn't much, just a small chunk of wreckage floating in space. It looked like part of an Empire weapon, torn apart in a way that no weapon should be able to do. The damage was too precise, too clean. The officers on board the fleet's ships were confused. "This doesn't make sense," one of the technicians said as he studied the wreckage on his screen. No known weapon could cause this kind of damage. Krell leaned over the officer's shoulder and stared at the images. The pieces of metal were twisted and burned, but they didn't look like they had been shot at or blasted apart. They had been ripped apart. There were no signs of a laser blast or explosion, only a strange pattern in the damage, almost like something had torn through it, faster than anything should have been able to. "It was the human ship," Krell said quietly. "It's showing us what it can do. And it's not attacking. It's testing us." Krell clenched his fists. The thought of being toyed with made him angry. He had fought countless battles, faced powerful enemies, and had never felt helpless. But this was different. This was something unknown, something that wasn't afraid to play with the Empire. The fleet continued to search, but with each passing day, the feeling of frustration grew. No matter where they looked, the human ship was always just out of reach. It was like chasing a shadow, running after something that wasn't there. Then one of the fleet's ships sent an urgent message. The small human ship had appeared again, but this time it wasn't alone. It was surrounded by a brilliant light, a blinding flash that filled the space around it. The crew of the fleet ship had tried to lock onto it, but their weapons were useless. The ship was moving too fast. The crew barely saw it before it vanished. "There has to be something we're missing," Krell said to his officers. "No ship can move like that without a reason. There's a pattern to it. We just have to find it." The fleet began to change its tactics. Instead of chasing the ship in every direction, they started to predict where it might appear next. They studied the reports, the moments when the ship had been seen. They looked for any clue that might tell them where it would go. For days, they searched, trying to anticipate the next move. And then, it happened. The ship appeared again, but this time it didn't vanish after a few seconds. This time, it stayed. It hovered just outside the fleet's range, just far enough to make them nervous, but close enough to feel his presence. The fleet's ships locked weapons onto it, ready to strike. But the human ship didn't move. It just waited. The officers looked at each other, unsure of what to do. Krell knew they couldn't keep playing this game. They needed answers, and the only way to get them was to face the truth. "Send a message to the Emperor," Krell ordered. "Tell him we have found the human ship, and it is unlike anything we have ever seen." The message from Admiral Krell was delivered straight to the Emperor's palace. It was clear. The Empire had found the human ship, but it wasn't like anything they had ever encountered. The speed, the strange behavior, and the way it moved without fear were all things they couldn't explain. Krell knew that the Emperor would want more information. He would want answers. And answers, at this point, were hard to come by. Krell sat in his command center, staring at the empty space on his screens. The human ship had stopped running. For the first time, it was simply waiting. Its bright, flashing light was visible in the distance, but it didn't move. It didn't try to escape or challenge them. It just hovered. "Why is it waiting?" Krell muttered to himself. "What does it want?" He couldn't stop thinking about the strange way the ship had moved in and out of their reach, always faster than the speed of light. It was as if the ship knew their every move, knew where they would be before they even got there. There was no logical explanation for it. No technology, no weapon, no ship in the Empire could move like that. Krell ordered his fleet to keep their distance. They couldn't risk attacking without understanding what they were up against. The human ship hadn't shown any sign of aggression, but that didn't mean it wouldn't. It was then that the message came. A single transmission, simple and direct. It was from the human ship. The crew listened closely as the voice came through the speakers. "We warned you," the voice said. It was calm, but there was power in it. "Stop hunting us." The voice was human. It wasn't loud or threatening. It wasn't even demanding. It was just a statement, a warning, a promise. And yet it carried so much weight. The crew of the fleet ship was silent as they processed the words. "They're speaking to us," one of the officers whispered. "They want us to stop hunting them." Krell stood up, his eyes wide with disbelief. "They're not scared of us," he said. "They think we're the ones who should be afraid." Before Krell could give another order, the human ship disappeared again, vanishing into thin air. The fleet scrambled to track it, but it was gone. No trace, no sign, just empty space where it had been. Krell clenched his fists. This wasn't just about technology or speed. This was something more. The humans had learned how to control the very fabric of space itself. They had created something that wasn't just a ship. It was a force. A few hours later, the human ship returned. But this time, it wasn't just a small craft. It was a large, glowing mass of energy. The light around it flickered like a star being born, almost too bright to look at. It didn't move quickly. It didn't need to. It just hovered, powerful and unyielding. And then, just as suddenly, the ship sent another message. "We've shown you our power," the voice came again, calm but certain. "Now you know what we are. You don't control us. You don't own space. We do." The message sent a wave of silence across the fleet. The words were simple, but the meaning was clear. The humans had something they didn't understand, something far beyond the Empire's reach. And it was only a matter of time before the rest of the galaxy realized it too. Krell felt the weight of those words pressing down on him. The Emperor had always spoken about control, about how the Empire had power over everything. But now he wasn't so sure. This human ship wasn't afraid of the Empire. It wasn't intimidated by the great power the Empire held. In fact, it seemed to be saying something far more dangerous. "We don't need your power. We have something greater." Krell had dealt with enemies before, but never like this. The humans were not fighting to destroy the Empire. They weren't even fighting to win. They were simply showing their strength, and with each passing moment, the Empire seemed weaker in comparison. "We have to talk to them," Krell said, breaking the silence in the command center. "We can't keep chasing them. If we attack, we might be making a mistake we can't undo." The fleet moved closer to the human ship, but they stayed out of its range. Krell tried to make contact again, this time sending a message of peace. "We have no intention of fighting. We only want to understand." It took a few moments, but the human ship finally responded. This time, the voice was different. It was softer, but still firm. "You are not the first to come, and you will not be the last. We will not fight you unless we have to. But if you attack us, you will regret it." The message was simple, but it carried a weight that no weapon in the galaxy could match. The fleet's officers looked at each other, unsure of what to do next. Krell was quiet for a long time. He had never been in a position like this before. The Empire's power was being tested in ways it never had been. "Tell the Emperor," Krell said finally. "The humans are not our enemies, but they are not afraid. And they are more powerful than we thought." The message from Admiral Krell reached the Emperor, and it sent shockwaves through the Imperial Palace. The Emperor had built his empire on the belief that power, fear, and control were the foundation of everything. The Empire was the strongest force in the galaxy, and no one questioned its might. Yet now, a single human ship had shaken that belief. The ship was unlike anything the Empire had ever encountered. It moved faster than light, tore through space with ease, and had no fear of the Empire's greatest weapons. The Emperor's advisors gathered in his private chamber, waiting for his decision. They had never faced a situation like this. The Empire had conquered countless worlds, defeated rebellions, and destroyed entire fleets. But this was different. The human ship wasn't attacking. It wasn't even trying to escape. It was simply there, watching. And the message it had sent was clear. The Empire no longer held the power it once did. Krell was standing before the Emperor, trying to remain calm. "My Emperor, I have gathered all the information we need. The human ship is far beyond our understanding. Its speed, its ability to move through space, nothing in the Empire compares to it." The Emperor listened, his expression unreadable. "And you believe it is simply a ship?" he asked. "A ship that has no intention of attacking us?" Krell nodded. "Yes, my Emperor. It seems the humans don't want to fight us. They want to show us their power, and they want us to stop hunting them." The Emperor stood up and paced slowly around the room. The power of the Empire had always been unquestioned. It had never faced an enemy that was not afraid. But this human ship, this small vessel, was doing something the Empire could not. It was unafraid. The Emperor's eyes narrowed as he thought. "What do you suggest we do?" the Emperor asked, his voice cold. Krell hesitated. He knew the Empire's strength was in its might, in its ability to crush any who stood against it. But this was not a normal enemy. This was something new. And for the first time in his long career, Krell wondered if fighting was the right choice. "I suggest we offer peace," Krell said slowly. "We try to understand them. If we attack, we risk losing everything. We might be facing a force more powerful than we ever realized." The Emperor turned to face him. "Peace," he repeated, his tone harsh. "The Empire has never negotiated with its enemies. We crush them, and they bow to us. That is the way it has always been." Krell lowered his head. "My Emperor, this is not a typical enemy. If we do not approach this carefully, we could destroy ourselves." The room fell silent as the Emperor thought. He had heard stories of strange technologies and ancient forces, but he had always dismissed them as myths. Now, it seemed, those myths were real. The human ship had proved it. It was something different, something more than the Empire had ever dealt with. Finally, the Emperor spoke. "If we offer peace, it will show weakness. The galaxy will see us as vulnerable. And we cannot allow that. We must regain control, show them that we are still the rulers of this galaxy." Krell stood his ground. "I agree that we cannot appear weak, but we must also acknowledge that this ship is not like the others. It has power we do not understand, power that could change everything." The Emperor's gaze hardened. "Then we will test them. We will send a fleet to engage them. If they resist, we will crush them. If they cooperate, we will find a way to use them to our advantage. Krell knew this was the Emperor's decision. The fleet would be sent, and the human ship would either submit or be destroyed. But Krell had a sinking feeling in his stomach. He didn't want to fight this enemy. Not unless he had to. The next day, the Imperial fleet assembled, ready for battle. Ships of all sizes, from massive war cruisers to smaller, faster attack ships, gathered around Krell's command center. The human ship was still out there, waiting. The fleet moved toward the coordinates where it had last been seen. This time, they would force the human ship to show its true power. Krell tried to push away the doubt in his mind, but it lingered. As the fleet moved forward, the human ship appeared on the radar once more. It was glowing, just as before, but this time it didn't just hover. It moved toward them, faster than any ship had a right to. And once again, it disappeared before they could react. The fleet scattered, trying to track the ship, but it was always one step ahead. Krell ordered his ships to lock weapons and fire. This time, the human ship didn't vanish. Instead, it moved, so fast that the weapons couldn't even lock on. The ships fired, but the shots missed by miles. The human ship danced around them, not even trying to fight back. It was playing with them again. Krell's frustration grew. "We need to stop this," he said. "We can't keep chasing shadows. We need to bring them to us." Then, as if in response to his words, the human ship appeared directly in front of him. It was closer now than ever before, its bright light blinding. It was a symbol of everything the Empire couldn't control. The fleet stopped, unsure of what to do next. And then, once again, the human voice echoed across the galaxy. "We have shown you our power," it said. "Now you must make your choice. Leave us alone, or face the consequences." The silence that followed the message from the human ship felt heavier than any battle ever could. Krell's fleet stood still, frozen in place. The human ship's words hung in the air, clear and undeniable. It was no longer just a warning. It was a challenge. Admiral Krell felt the weight of the decision on his shoulders. He had served the Empire for years, fighting battles, conquering worlds, and crushing rebellions. The Empire was built on power, on fear, on the belief that no one could stand against it. But now, for the first time, he was unsure. The human ship had proven that it wasn't afraid. It wasn't even trying to fight. It was simply showing the Empire that power could come from something other than force. The Emperor's voice echoed in Krell's mind, demanding action. The Empire could not show weakness. They could not allow an enemy to challenge their authority, especially not a small human ship. But Krell knew that continuing the chase would be a mistake. The human ship had proven that they could outrun, outmaneuver, and outsmart anything the Empire could throw at them. And still, it didn't attack. He turned to his crew. The tension was thick. They had all heard the human message, and they knew what was at stake. Some of the officers looked at Krell, waiting for his orders, while others looked down, unsure of what to do. "We need to stop this," Krell said quietly, his voice firm. "We've tried to overpower them, but we don't understand what they're capable of. We need to negotiate." One of the officers spoke up. "But Admiral, if we back down now, it will make us look weak. The entire galaxy will see us as vulnerable. We can't show fear." Krell's eyes narrowed. "It's not about fear. It's about survival. If we keep fighting, we risk everything. The humans aren't like anyone we've faced before. And if we attack, we could be starting something we can't finish." There was a long pause as the crew considered his words. It was a hard decision, one that could change everything. If the Empire did not crush this human challenge, it could set a dangerous precedent. But if they pushed too far, they might lose everything. Krell's hand rested on the console in front of him. He knew the risks. The Emperor's power relied on control. But there was something more at play here, something that didn't fit the Empire's rules. He made his decision. "Prepare a message for the human ship," Krell ordered. Tell them we will cease fire. We want to talk. We want to understand." The fleet's officers stared at him in surprise, but none of them spoke. They had never seen Krell back down before. He had always been the one to lead with strength, to strike first, to dominate. But this time, he was choosing a different path. Within moments, the message was sent. It was simple. "We wish to understand. We no longer pursue you. Let us meet and discuss our future." The seconds dragged on as they waited for a response. The human ship had not responded immediately the last time. But this time, Krell's hopes were different. This was a chance to prevent an all-out war, a chance to find a way to coexist, to understand the power that the humans had shown. Finally, the reply came. "We've been waiting for you to make this choice," the voice said, calm and unwavering. "We will meet. But know this, we do not fear you. You have no power over us, and you never will." Krell felt a cold shiver run through him, but it wasn't fear. It was respect. The human ship wasn't boasting or threatening. It was simply stating the truth. The Empire's power was meaningless to them. The galaxy had changed, and the humans were a part of that change. The fleet moved into position as the human ship made its way toward them. For the first time, the Empire's ships didn't take up battle formation. They stayed back, allowing the human ship to approach. The bright light of the ship pulsed, glowing like a beacon in the dark vastness of space. It was almost beautiful, like a new star appearing out of nowhere. When the human ship arrived, it did not land or make any dramatic moves. It simply hovered in place, silent, its light still glowing softly. Krell and his officers watched as the view screen displayed the ship. There were no weapons, no hostile signs, only the quiet power that radiated from it. The voice came again, calm as ever. "You have made the right choice. Now, we will speak." Krell took a deep breath. His mind raced with possibilities. This was not a victory. It wasn't even a resolution. It was a beginning. And what came next would determine the future of the Empire. "We're listening," Krell said. The human voice responded. "Understand this. We are not enemies, but we are not your subjects. We seek peace, but we will not be controlled. The galaxy belongs to all who live in it. It is time for the Empire to change." The words struck like a hammer. Krell had known the Empire was powerful. But this was something he had never expected. The humans had not only defeated the Empire's arrogance, they had shown it to the galaxy. They had forced the Empire to listen. The human ship remained silent, waiting for a response. And for the first time, Krell felt the weight of the universe shift. The Empire's rule was no longer unchallenged. The humans had proven that a new era had arrived, one that the Empire might not be able to control. Krell looked at his fleet, then back at the human ship. It was time for the Empire to make its choice.